Hello, guys. How are you? Welcome to the Spiritual Chrysalis with me, Cindy. I'm in my spare room right now. I would call it my spare room, but when my mom comes to visit, this is her room. So I'm just gonna sit down and get ready to do some tarot readings for zodiac signs. It'll be going on my other channel, Awakening to Spirit. But I'm sitting here and I can't stop thinking about something that I experienced last night watching a movie. And I'm really curious. I don't usually share things like this on my other channel, but this one is, like I said, it's sort of like, and like you've come in here and look, I've got my mug of tea. So this is sort of like a Sunday morning chit chat. I'm sitting on a nice plushy cushion. You've come into the chrysalis. And so let's have a little discussion about something. So I'm sure a lot of you have, being that you're already sort of into spiritual things and whatnot, but the Mandela effect. I've had some really big ones that have happened to me on personal levels. And then there's one that's been an ongoing one for a little while. And if you don't know what the Mandela effect is, I'll explain it, but I imagine most of you do by now. It's sort of having a really distinct memory about how something happened in the past, but history is not showing it to be that anymore. So, and it got the name Mandela effect because a lot of people remember Nelson Mandela. How do they remember it? They remember him dying in prison, but I don't remember it that way, which is really funny. Like, I remember it the way it's sort of recorded in history is how I remember that. But anyways, it's not about that. And it's not really about a debate on, oh no, it did happen like that. Because see, that's where it can cause it can cause arguments between people. And it's almost as if I like to think of it as these different fibers and strings of reality, and where you hop, and you can hop through those. And I think people that are really good manifestors hop an awful lot along those strings of reality where your consciousness lies. And I think even physicists have even said, like, anything that could have happened has happened. Like, it's completely possible in reality. So I had one happen last night. I haven't watched it in a dog's age. And I sat down last night to watch it on Netflix. Was Erin Brockovich. I love her. She's so great. Julia Roberts is so great too. But so there was a huge little indicator of Mandela effect, because one of them too is the whole concept that Ed McMahon never went around and gave checks to people. What was that? I can't remember what it was called now. The Publishers Clearinghouse? It was the Publishers Clearinghouse, and it was Ed McMahon, and I even received one in the mail, like, probably about 18 years ago. And I laughed at it. I thought, oh, that's so funny. Yeah, is he really going to come to Canada? So I don't know, at some point they were doing it outside of the US. But so I remember getting one from him. But there's so many resonances of this reality. That's the other thing too. Like, you wonder how things are changed in terms of reality. Like, if you remember something a certain way and everyone is saying, no, history, that never happened that way. But then there's always echoes of these realities. So, and there are some of those with Ed McMahon. So, Erin Brockovich, the character in the movie, she's lost her job. I think this is the point where she got fired from the lawyer's office. And she's sitting with the baby in her arms. I believe it was that part. At some point where she's looking for jobs in the newspapers and everyone is turning her down. And the doorbell rings and she looks at the baby. She says, oh, maybe it's Ed McMahon, right? Like, she needs money. I thought, oh my God, see? When that movie was made, it was known that Ed McMahon did go to people's houses for that Publishers Clearinghouse and give rewards. But it is not recorded in history like that anymore, although I'm saying that, and I haven't looked into it. Maybe I should have looked before I made this video, because reality has been known to shift too and change. I thought, oh damn, there it is. And so while I'm opening the subject, I can tell you about a couple that I've had, and I'm sure it's going to cause debate. And a few of them too are like kind of American based. So I know sometimes Americans get upset, like, you don't know our history, Cindy. You don't know what it. Like, no, I experienced some really freaky ones. So back in when was my son born? I think it was around 2011. 2011, 2012 is the time period. And I was part owner of a children's art studio, and where I was doing art classes and teaching kids art. And I was on one of the weekends, it was a Saturday, and I had an older group, well, older, like teenagers. I think they weren't in high school yet. So I want to say they're probably like the grade 7 and 8 group. What would that be? Like 13 and 14 years old, maybe 15, kind of like that. You know, really chatty and still kind of shy about each other. There was one boy in the group, but I was teaching them drawing. So we were doing portrait. And the boy, I can't remember, the young man, I should say the young man. I can't remember his name, but he wanted to do Abraham Lincoln as a portrait. And I thought, wow, that's going to be really cool. So he was working on his portrait. Like we would look up different images for the kids of who they wanted to do a portrait of. And this was after doing like weeks and weeks of lessons and understanding the facial anatomy and breaking it down and drawing it and whatnot. And so I found an image for him of Abraham Lincoln. And, you know, there's not a lot because back then. But we had one, and he's drawing and working on it, and all the girls in the group too are. And a lot of them were kind of drawing like pop idols and even women that they admired and thought were really beautiful or had accomplished great things. So, but all of the girls were drawing someone like this. You know, especially if it's something that's more pulp culture, you're showing your teeth, you got a big smile. And if you've ever done portrait work, teeth are one of the hardest things to do, so that you draw them without them looking like little chiclets. Replacing them out. So that's a lesson all on its own. But he's drawing Abraham Lincoln. See, this is what I'm telling you. I have so much detail about this memory too. Like, it makes me wonder, why do I remember the details of this so profoundly? Was I supposed to remember that reality has shifted? So he's drawing his, and it's Abraham Lincoln. There's no teeth, there's no smile. And one of the girls noticed that because they're all struggling with the teeth, and I'm sort of guiding them through that. And they said, you are so lucky you're drawing someone who's not showing their teeth. And then I started talking about it. And I said, well, too, back then, like most people didn't show their teeth when they were smiling for a photo because there wasn't dentistry. There were real dentures, like wooden dentures and all of that stuff. So we started talking about that. And they said, what? Wooden dentures? I said, yeah, he had wooden dentures. And then... See, this is weird. This is where you can get into such a debate about this, because as I believe how it is now, that he had dentures made from slaves' teeth, is I believe how that history is now. Again, I haven't looked into it for a few years, so I don't know if it shifted again. But we went on, and I said, yeah, lots of people had teeth made out of wood back then. They didn't believe me. They thought there was not. I said, okay, come. So I brought them out of the little studio room we were working. I said, come to my desk. And we up the computer and I Googled it. And there was actually, I don't remember which museum it was. Maybe it was a museum of modern history or something. They actually had his wooden teeth in the museum, and they had photos of it online. So I was showing them. They were all around me at my desk and showing me this. And they were looking at it. And I said, see? I said, wow, that's crazy. So we looked online, and there were photographs of it, and it even talked about what museum they were in. And then years later, after I wasn't even in that art studio anymore, I wasn't part of that, I saw this come up in some sort of feed about a Mandela, and people were really arguing about it. And that's the other thing, like I'm saying, it can cause arguments. So be really fluid with each other. I think this group is, and sort of understands more so that reality can change, like, and how our concepts of it and what we hang on to and don't hang on to too are there. So yeah, there's like no history of that. And I was just blown away because I had such a detailed memory of that, of his teeth. I thought, wow, that's crazy. So there's so many different ones, and you can share those in the comments too. If you like, there was another one there was another one for me too that was really crazy. Because I have a Kia. Actually, I have my third car now that I've owned is a Kia. And the first one was my mom gave it to me. Because I always had company vehicles. Yeah. So I was really lucky. I never had to own a vehicle get my own vehicle until I was in my 30s. Because out of college, I ended up working in a place, they always had a company vehicle. So it was really great. Well, yes and no. Because you really didn't get to pick what you got to drive around in. But anyway, so The first car that I had was a Kia Magenta. So, I mean, it's a really old model. At the time when my mom gave me the car, because she was getting a new car and I went on maternity leave. So now I didn't have a vehicle because I didn't have a company vehicle. So she gave me her car. She's really nice. So she gave me her car and I had the Kia Magentas, and she'd already had it for a few years. And so it was an old car and it had the key fobs and they were old. Maybe the car was 10 or 11 years old at the point where this happened to me. So I was sort of delving into the Mandela effect, and there were things that resonated with me and things that didn't. And it is hard because when you're like, no, I know this history. I know this. This has not changed. Because you can hit ones like that too and go, this has not changed. These people are crazy. What are they talking about? But then you find one for yourself. You're like, oh my God, it has changed. And all these other people say, no, it hasn't. No. So this happened. So I was, I remember distinctly. I was at my son's school. I had finished lunch monitoring, and all these thoughts are going through my head about the Mandela effect. And I thought, because people were talking about logos now changing, and then other people trying to go through history and picking up these images. No, the company really did change their logo, or no, they never did. No, it never was that. Anyway, so I thought, I looked at my car as I was approaching it from the parking lot, like leaving the school and walking to my car, and I saw the Kia on the car, and I looked at it and I thought to myself, if this was going to change, I don't know what it would change into, but I'm going to remember what it is. It's a simple KIA. KIA. That's all I remember in it. And so I wonder if they are changing their logo though. Like in reality, I've noticed their newer cars coming out for 2022, it's changed. But that's the thing, like people will argue and say, well, they changed the logo over time, but no, like I drew it out to how I remember it and it changed. And the funny thing was, I didn't consciously notice the change right away. I think it had come up. No, this is the other thing. Could it be suggestive? I don't think it was a suggestive change in my mind, but that's also debatable too, right? How our minds can be prone to suggestion. But I think about these because I made a conscious point to try to remember what it looked like. So now it's like a K, and it's got like a little tail on the end, and an I, and a little tail. But then it's the inverted V. That's the part that gets me, because I remember thinking, I tried to put into my head what I remember this logo to be. So if it ever did change, I would have that. Because if I was trying to remember, like now if I looked at the Kia logo and I was going to say to myself, hey, remember this for what it is. It's a K with a little tail. It's an I with a little tail. It's an inverted V with a little tail, with little tails on the end, right? Instead of A, I said KIA on the back of my car. And then it's on the steering wheel, on the horn, and it's on the fobs, and they all changed. They all became KI inverted V with little tails, and it freaked shit out of me because I thought, this is my car, and this is an old car. This is nothing to do with like, yeah, they used to have that logo years ago, and now your new cars have this. No. This is an 11-year-old car that I know. Because I never told myself it was an inverted V. I would have. Being a visual artist too, like I look for those details and things. I observe them and I remember them. And sometimes they're stupid details, but it's just how my mind works. And I thought, oh, that's friggin' crazy, man. And there's been a lot of other ones too. And I haven't thought about it. And it's like I stopped exploring it. I've been down so many rabbit holes. I see people all the time tell me in comments and stuff like, oh, Cindy, you need to look into this conspiracy. I've been down so many rabbit holes like in the last 15 years. It's not even funny, to the point where I don't even care anymore. I really don't. But it just sort of brought this up again to me, and I'm wondering, why is it bringing it up? Maybe there's going to be a major Mandela effect, like some sort of major shift or change, or maybe I'm just going to experience one. I'm going to put myself onto a sort of a new reality fiber here in the fibers of reality. That's the other thing too. Like so I remember looking into the quantum computers, which I still don't really understand. I don't know why they call it a computer. It doesn't really seem like a computer. But the whole basis of getting something so close to the point of absolute zero, when they do that, it's like time stands still and they're able to reach into another reality. Isn't that freaky? It's been so long since I've researched that again as well. Like my life has been really kind of up in the air for the last little while, so it doesn't give you the opportunity to look into things like in the past. But I remember them stating that it gave them the ability. Oh, that was my washing machine. I think that was weird. It gave physicists, scientists the ability to, I guess it's quantum physicists, I should be more specific, to take, if we looked at reality as binary code too, like just zeros and ones, the quantum computer could exist in zero, in the state of zero, and take one from another place. Like, it could exist in both these points in reality. Isn't that crazy? So you wonder, right? Like, what? Is there a shift? Maybe I'm bringing this out. Like, I haven't been, a Mandela effect hasn't like jumped in my face for a long time. And I said, oh, look at me. This is going to mess with your mind. And I was thinking, oh, that just hit me so hard last night in that movie, Erin Brockovich. I thought, holy crap. Because she's looking for a job. She needs money. She has no money. She's just stated, too, to some guy who was her new neighbor. I think she ends up marrying him. I'm only halfway through the movie because I had to get my son to bed. But, like, she needs money. She says, now, I have $18 in my bank account. Now you interested? I got 3 kids. I've been divorced twice. I'm a single mom. She's like trying to push this guy away. Look, there's nothing here. Don't even bother. It's like she's looking for money. Maybe it's Ed McMahon. Why else would Ed McMahon be at her door? To what? To take her on to the Johnny Carson show? Doesn't make sense. So anyway, so there. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to have on here sometimes. I just think it's kind of interesting to, you know, when things like this happen and to share it with you. I was going to sit down. I am still going to sit down and do the Scorpio reading for the other channel. But I couldn't get this out of my head. It was driving me crazy. And I thought, I'm going to talk about it in the spiritual chrysalis with everyone. So there you go. So yeah, I hope you you enjoyed our little Sunday morning chat. Or, well, it could be Sunday evening. And it could even be early Monday morning. Or it could be any day, depending on when you see this. So there you go. Thank you so much, guys, for putting up with my rant and, you know, expanding your brain a little bit and helping to expand mine. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.